The saxophone has always had a very special place in my heart. Not only was this my grandfather's instrument, but this was also the instrument that I think I've taken the furthest in my musical career. So let me tell you the story about how I got into this instrument. Music has been a part of my life since 5th grade, but 6th grade is when I joined the band, and I was not assigned to the saxophone. I was actually assigned to the trumpet, and I loved it. It is a fantastic instrument, but I really wanted to explore more than just the trumpet. And my grandfather played saxophone. He had for many, many years. But due to his cancer, he could not get the air to play the horn anymore. So this one was just sitting in his attic gathering dust. He wanted to give it to me. He knew that he really couldn't do anything more with it, and it was just going to stay in that attic if he didn't. What I didn't know is that this would be the last gift he would ever give me. He would pass in February of the following year from his cancer. When we knew that it was getting close to his death, we all went up to see him at the hospice center where he was, and they allotted me some time to actually go in and show him what I'd gotten to do, and I'll never forget that. He never got to see me play professionally like I did. He never got to see me do marching band, any of that, but he did get to hear me play at least once. My band director in the time, she was very against me playing saxophone. She wanted me to focus solely on trumpet, so I ended up having to kind of work under her nose. The assistant band director was all for it, and she, in her free time, would tutor me against the band director's wishes, and she would slip me these books. I think I still have some of them to this day. You know, she would give me these books to learn, and when 8th grade came around, I finally was good enough in my mind that I could go out there and say, you know, I have this instrument down, you know, whether you like it or not. And the band director assigned me to the most menial role you could think of in the jazz band, and really tried to keep me out of this, but I pressed on. When I went to high school, things were different. Now I had a level playing field. Nobody knew that I was self-taught, except for the few people that went to middle school with me. So when I sat down in that first jazz band class my freshman year, I really thought that I was gonna, you know, show off that I was decent, but it was a bit of a rude awakening. When I say that I got the mat wiped out, you know, it was... I sat down and that principal alto sax player cleaned my clock up and down and showed me just how much I didn't know about this instrument. And in that moment, I could have quit. I really could have. I could have walked away with my dignity and said, yeah, this isn't for me. But no, I really sank my teeth in it, and I said, I'm going to do this. And so that's when I started taking private lessons. By my junior year of high school, I'd really gotten to a point where I was able to solo in front of people, and I was comfortable with it. I was comfortable on the instrument, and I was good enough, I guess, to be the principal alto. And I loved performing, but what I was able to do with the high school jazz band, it wasn't enough for me. I wanted something more. Around that time, I had a really chance encounter. There was a restaurant here in town called Jazzmatazz, and it was fairly new at the time. It hadn't been open for very long, but I walked in just curious what it was. You know, they had jazz in the title, so they might be interested in some kind of live music. So I walked in and I struck a conversation with the owner, and I said, you know, well, would you be interested? And no joke, this man looks right at me. I'm 17 years old. He says, yes, I would be interested, and you start in 2 weeks. And, you know, I kind of tell him, I was like, you know I don't have a band, right? And he said, you figure it out, you start in 2 weeks. And so I came home, and within the next, you know, the next 48 hours were insane. I was pulling together every loose end I could find. I ended up pulling with some guys that I had played with before, and we were terrified. It was... we had 2 weeks to come up with a 2-hour set, and we really worked our, you know, we worked ourselves to death. It was a very intense 2 weeks. At the end of it, we had a set, and we thought we were just going to tank this first performance. We thought it was going to be horrible, but it was actually a really solid first performance, and it led to a nice, a year-long career. It was a sad day when Jazz Mataz closed down, and we ended up going our separate ways. But there for a while, it was it was quite an experience. That's my story with the saxophone.